When you get when you never get someone, when you
want to share your events with the world? Why not contact us? We are Liberia Public Radio, LPR. We are the specialists in advertisements, commercials, radio and TV services. We have the professionals that can help you sell your products and provide live coverage of all events such as weddings, conventions, graduations, reunions, anniversaries, sports, birthdays, baby showers, religious activities, funerals, and many more. Take your phone right now and call any of the following numbers: 682-433-8802, 267-648-6089, 484-786-3337, or 916-533-2048. Our customer service representatives are waiting to take your calls and give you the needed assistance. It is LPR, the home of excellent media services, and your friends in business.
Okay, good evening, good evening. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I am Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. We say happy Thanksgiving. It's a big, huge holiday tomorrow. I know some turkey going to be in the ovens. It's already got the legs, the toes, the chest off, stuffing, everything going inside. We say good evening to Moses Malut. Good morning, good evening. Happy Thanksgiving to Mr. Aliyu Kumar. Good to have you here. We'll say happy Thanksgiving. And Fatu, I hope you keep some of the Thanksgiving stuff for us. We'll start there. I'm leaving right after the show, so don't be surprised when you see me to your door tomorrow. Make provisions. Mr. Fremont, also Mr. John Twant, I believe, Mary Sandy, Bentu, Power, and all of our folks. We say good evening. We say welcome you. This is the regular Wednesday editions of All Things Considered. I am your host, and Angle here. It's on LPR. Will be your host. You're going to have a good conversation here tonight. No tapata, no too much political satire here tonight. We're going to have a great conversation here. Those who always in the tendency of not making you to speak, or they want you to speak their way, specific tone. No, that's not going to happen. The analysts are gradually assembling behind stage, so I'm going to be breaking them in here. One then from a Temple of Justice Avenue, whatever it is. Say good evening, so welcome. Let me bring in Mr. Jerry Bacon. He just went Liberia for two days, man. You guys are enjoying. He went Liberia 2 days. Direct flight, direct demand, straight here to Ghana to Liberia 2 days, finished meeting a papi, came back. How many of us can afford doing that? How many of us? Direct flight from here straight. I understand you went with Delta. It got at 7 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock, plane was already at it. Their engine running. Power put everybody on hold because Jerry Bacon they're waiting for Jerry Bacon on the board. In order for that plane to touch down to Roberts International Airport, Jerry Bacon Boishem must be on board. Wow. It could be good to hang out with the big guys. Welcome back. How is Liberia?
Liberia's good.
Wow. Damn, bro, you're strong. Bazi, you're strong.
Jesus Vanagon.
Yeah. Okay, good evening. So welcome to Mr. Kendall. Good to have you here. It's a warrior from of the LPP. All picking on Alice Kumi, and I don't know. Nobody gonna take you right now. Unless CDC can afford taking you. CDC said the one CC go. I say you're sure you know who you want. Because with Mayflower, Ecomose can't even put our fire off. Okay, Mr. Bacon, good to have you here. Hopefully the rest of the folks going to join, but let's see. Can I say it? Liberia TV today in Liberia. Let's see.
followed by members of the minority bloc of the House of Representatives. We saw the arrival of Musa Hassan Belete from the minority bloc. We also saw the arrival of Josiah Marvin Cole, also from the minority bloc. We saw the arrival of Eugene Colley, members of the minority bloc as well. We also saw the arrival of Sumo Moba, District Number 3, Mosaralo Kante. Also, he's member of the minority bloc as well. But we are yet to see members of the majority bloc headed by District Number 11 Representative Rachel Nangbe Kong. We also saw the arrival of District Number 16 Representative Dixie Sibu and the Attorney General of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Oswald Tour is also here. And we also saw the arrival of a retired
Okay,
Associate Justice
let's
Councillor
see.
Fede Isabens is also here. We saw the arrival of also retired Chief Justice Councillor Gloria Musu Scott. So this is Romeo Quia from the Sano County, also making your way in the chambers of the Supreme Court of Liberia. And we are told that this legal argument will take place right before the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia, held by Sianeyo James Etta Howard Wolokoli, Associate Justice Yami Kwakwa Bessie, Siane Clinton Johnson, Associate Justice Yusuf D. Kaba, making the total number of 5
Okay,
on the bench of the
let's get this over here. That was saying kind of state of Major News Network in Liberia, Liberia TV today. So, Mr. Balcom, good evening. Good to have you here. Hey, Victor, good to have you. Garment, good evening, good morning, depending on your location. Good to have you here, Mr. Morgan. As usual, thank you for your commitment to this network. Okay, so you met the Oman during your trip?
Good to be back.
How you, bro? Like, bro, now where were you? Why are you? Are you frozen, my man? Okay, Mr. Jerry Barcom, I think it's network. Are you there, Mr. Barcom? Mr. Barcom. Okay, let me just see what I can move in and bring him back on. Something I think is. Let me just bring him in back. I want to see movement backstage, and I want to bring in. He brought a virus from Liberia. Okay, let's see. I think. Okay, so what? Liberia network using here in America? Mr. Barcom?
Oh, right.
We're not hearing you, my man. Are you there?
You can hear me now?
Much better, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
What
here.
is that?
I can hear
I'm
you.
hearing you. Oh, okay. What is that? A Lone Star or Silk? What do you call? What the other phone is? Orange? Is that the same Lone Star? You that network you
I
can.
read here in Rhode Island. I read here in Rhode Island.
No, I'm
I
trying
read
to
here in
give
Rhode
you.
Island.
I'm trying to give you a special phone.
I read
Orange
here in
phone
Rhode
to bring to
Island.
you. Okay, today is
Nah.
Wednesday. It's all things considered. Say happy Thanksgiving in advance. So what's going on tomorrow? Thanksgiving. Am I invited? Can I pass through? What's going on?
Well, today is I always say, and I would thank for our listeners. I've been asking for some time. I got some other things to deal with. And thank God I'm back. And you know, I was there a lot when you were not on the show, and when you're sitting behind and watching it, you do some good analysis, and you see where we are, how far we gotta go, especially when it comes to our Liberia situation. You know, so it's very fascinating. There's sometimes, you know, just sit back, don't say nothing, just be a spectator, just watch and see where we are, especially we, the analysts on the show, and see our positions and our statement and our demeanor and our responsibility. And it's a good thing. I love this show, and I'm going to be here for a very long time. I'll say you fire me, but other than that, I'm going to be around for a very long time.
One thing you left out some of when you sit after you go back, you listen to yourself some of those ridiculous things. You think I know you can laugh and laugh, and then the woman now will ask you what you laughing for, but you can't be you can't you can't say, but what was one laughing inside there for? You listen to your own voice, how ridiculous it can be, right? Although everything is enjoyment, everything has its
Nah,
own.
nah, nah.
So okay, when you listen, let's have a I know all things well. We try to set it up. When
But
you have all
no, that have a good show. But there are a lot of interesting things that are going on in Liberia. Let's be realistic here. Anyway, first of all, that's a big
this is
thanks
all
for the
things
God.
considered. So let me welcome Keto here. Kami is here, of course. Mrs.
I will
Fabric
be
is
able
here.
to see.
Strong, happy belated birthday. I played a birthday song the other day, but anyway, I knew that you were chilling, getting a little get away from Jerry Bacon, the liberals, CC them with their 10 million excuses with Fatu then. So it was good you get away because you're going to make your day look horrible. Yeah, Victor, thank you so much. Eric, good to have you here. So yeah, this is all things considered. Man, what's going on? What's going on?
Well, first of all, let me say this. Today is the eve of Thanksgiving, and I'm very thankful to God to be where I am in life. God has blessed me, and the blessing, like what they say, the more who give, more is required of you. And someone will try to make our contribution what God has given us. God has given the talents for the news. God has given us the platform, you know, to spread our message and our views. And here's a charge from me and Dory to come to the United States of America. Hold on. And to be recognized among my peer group. You know, I'm serious. You know, I'm look, I'm overwhelmed, and a lot of comment section. I mean, I put it in the chat room. I mean, people have commented, but somehow we have been writing for the past maybe 10 years, 5 years, and now people begin to recognize our writing and recognize me personally. That go to Ghana to receive an award. It is not about Jerry Bako. It is for Liberia. At least there's a Liberian who go into a more African country that Liberia be represented. The person from Liberia and moreover from B and W from Nima County, Lower Nima County, where they try is not even known within the Nima County arena. So it's missed me. So I want to say, everybody, thank you for all your contribution.
Yeah.
All your contribution that you have
Tell a
made.
little bit. What is it all about? Is it coming from the organizations? Coming from
What the organization is all criminals activities, not criminal activities, but it's in a law enforcement association that monitor all writers within West Africa. All articles are being published, are being used within the classroom. And the organization, excuse me, the organization, the criteria you're writing, and they see your impact that you are making, so then they get a special group uh, to that analyze the writing, and they make a decision to say yes, the topic that you brought up is a good topic, and we'll award you. That's what happened.
Okay, let me welcome Mr. Collins from Minneapolis. The Minnesota politician / Reverend, political Reverend. Mr. Collins, good evening. Welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Sue and Mr. Bacon, how you doing, sir?
Good to have you.
Mr.
How
Bacon.
Happy Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah, I thought that you were. I thought they probably call you finally to go be Minister of State because
America from Liberia, 2 days. Can you imagine? 2 days.
Please, just start. Look, don't get me into trouble on the network. Please, don't get me in trouble.
You can go to Ghana.
Hey, don't get me in trouble in the network.
At the end of the month, you go back to Liberia to get a power board. That one never. That whole of December part will be nice to you because myself, when I cancel, I think the Washingtons will say there can be something. Yeah, man. But Terry, are you growing your beer?
beer.
Yeah, see, all of your kids, yeah.
Oh, the beer.
I hope you're not getting your own or let you on the sound and network. You're leaving me out because all of you're looking is. Oh.
No, God forbid. I think that Labor and Citizen getting all the something. That Labor and Citizen,
They're kicking out all around here.
Oh, they kicking out.
Oh man, the time you did that man contract. They say they want a man there. The men that have how they say what is that? Liberty Party. He will cover one day for the other one. You just throwing out, man. You can't go by. You ever heard him talking about it recently on the network? He's
I don't hear you talking about you. I've been looking for him there. I don't see him.
Oh, don't waste your time. That man is missing action. You're busy right now. You can't go there again. Okay, gentlemen, good evening. Welcome. Good to have you. To let us unfolding. Consider. Let's see, Mr. Bacon, let's go in your photo. First come, first serve. This is my own affair. I'm not like your guy. Treat people as how it should be. You came first. I'm going to deal with you first. Terry comes. I want to deal with Terry. But this is all things considered. Let's see what you have, and then maybe we can jumpstart other conversation. Are you there, Jerry? Mr. Bacon?
I'm here. All right.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. What do you
sir.
have you want to share with us here in the meanwhile? And now I'll go to Terry.
These are 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 criteria a person should possess to be a leader. And I think I'll come up with one for now.
Let's streamline and see whether maybe we can tap into 2 or 3 out of the 5 it would ask you to pick, because I think today on a scripture that you want to open it to one of the
5. 5 criteria. Okay. First, knowledge. You can write it down. Knowledge. Your ability, courage, confidence.
Knowledge. In classroom. Why are my pen then refusing to write? What did you do with it? Sorry. Knowledge, ability, courage, you said?
Courage.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Confidence.
Confidence.
And personality. And personality of 5.
Personality. Wow. Folks, you're taking paper to NEPA. Saka, good to have you here. Don, you're welcome. So, Terry, good evening. So today is Wednesday. We all know the traditions of Wednesday right here on LPR. Too much going on, but let's go into your playbook. Jerry Bacon said we're going to go back to school today. Knowledge, ability, courage, confidence, and personality.
Yeah, that's a good thing. You're talking about leadership. Is that what he's saying?
Well, you will let us know when when we get to the conference, when we really get to the conversation, we'll see how he tie the correlations of these words or what he wants to say, so that we will get an insight. But let's hear you. What is your concern? What are you considering this evening?
Well, my concern is all over the place because of what is going on in the country. My concern is driven to the Supreme Court ruling. What will be the ruling based upon what we've been hearing today? And I thought that that was interesting. And I think there is a press release from Richard Kuhn that the House have suspended activities pending, you know, that there is a funeral going on, not a funeral per se. I think somebody died or so. I think they're going to attend. So I saw that press release and all of that. I also saw uh, Finance Minister Gaffwan declare his asset worth 350 some more $1,000 in maybe, I don't know, worth, total worth. I'm kind of wondering how he got that money over a short period of time. But one thing about Liberia, when you work in government, it's easier for you to generate that kind of money. But however, that is where we are. And a lot have been going on in the country. People are we hearing that foreign minister, the foreign minister, have said that the Nicotech project is on hold, is suspended for now. So yeah, these are things. But
Okay.
my major concern is the what went on today at the court.
We go at the core. Okay, so let's start with Jerry. Basically, Gafwa is saying to 533, I think 33K. Well, fair to mention, you came from the African Development Bank and all of that too. So who knows? So, well, at least he declared his and it was published. So anybody who have coin, I don't know whether there's a provision for them to challenge, but there are other people who say it and they say if you want it, go find it. Like like the big guy, they just throw people at us. We figure. We don't even know what is there. We don't know how to find it. Okay, so let's hear that. That cool thing there, don't mind. That's another sign. People just don't know. So when politicians when they made this kind of statement because somebody died, is that the president? So is that why you're gonna bring the people house to a halt because somebody died somewhere? Is that member of the house? Even if that member of the house, what you do, you just fly the flag gonna be flown sort of halfway to commemorate. You don't bring a country to a complete halt if you know. But it's all about now the North is screwed up first. There was a complete defiance on the court. This time around, they will try to walk a fine line. So, it came in with this whole day. So that was a very good one that they got to put a hook on it. But it just doesn't make sense. You and I know because somebody died, you send delegation, you send delegation. So why the government should be shut down because Mr. A or Mr. B died? You know how many revenue government gonna be losing? Business people are supposed to go to capital to some concession. What happens if 4 or 5% dies in a row? You're gonna suspend section because of that? He just another way of obeying the court while the process is ongoing. But like bring people to come out to say, okay, we want to be in obedience and wait for the law. They don't want to say it. They still want to put a face for it. That's it. Okay, Mr. Bacon, let's come to you here. You sent us a classroom here. Let's screen loud and because Terry get his stuff too, so that we all can participate and hopefully it's our audience as well. Mr. Joey, good to have you here. So let's screen loud this too. What would be your first 2 or 3 priority? What were the things you put together, Mr. Bacon? I'm talking to you.
I didn't get a question. Say that again, sir.
No, I say you outlined a couple of things here that has to do with leadership or whatever it is, but you will tell all as well. But I'm asking, what's the first two priority you want us to talk about?
Well, the two for I mean, the Supreme Court is important, and the scholarship fund, the middle the president.
The what?
I think by now somebody should be fired. I'm very
the-
straight
what
about
did
it.
they- what did they do?
Middle the president. Huh?
What is it? What happened to the president?
I said the 250 students.
Mhm.
The 250 students scholarship that's supposed to come to America and Canada. I think by now it's suspended. By now somebody should be fired. There should be accountability. We cannot just say it all the time. Should be under the rug. No, it is overdue. It is time to take precisely or decision. It is about time to start making decisions. It's not time to no more excuses. It is time to stand up.
Yeah. So you said somebody should be fired? Mr. Barker, I'm talking to you. What kind of channel?
Yeah, quiet. I didn't hear you, but the thing of bouncing back. I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you.
I was asking you, say somebody should be fired, right? Is that what you're saying?
Precisely.
You said someone should be fired. What did Papa offer to them?
The man receiving security briefing on the border towns, so he can't.
You getting security briefing?
Yes, sir. Yeah, was straight.
But here's the thing. This is what I said. That's why I gave you five items. As a leader, you should be knowledgeable, have an idea, understanding. This as a leader, you are knowledgeable. To be able to lead your people, you must have the knowledge, you must have the capability to lead your people to be able to do this thing. You cannot just go there and somebody mislead you and go and lead you because of some selfish aim. Look, let's be realistic on the show tonight. We brought Waka to power. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's interesting. I'm gonna admit, yeah, we fought hard for the access of government, and we have permanent people who can work, who are willing to work, who have to tap in the resources that we have. But it's too many things that are going on in this government, and we need to address it.
Tell us that. Yeah, we were not in the system, so
It
we'll
is
know.
about time. No, it is not. No. Here's the thing. I'm so adamant about what happened with the president. It's not the president. The president gave you the authority as a minister of foreign affairs, as a minister of justice, as a minister of agriculture. These are your responsibility. It's not the president have the confidence in you to appoint you to the administrative position for you to execute the agenda of the president. Yeah, here we are. You drag the president of the Republic of Liberia.
Oh my goodness.
I know we are going back, but these are the steps that some of the things that happen. It gave him a blue eyes in the administration. And it's about time that we need to take some responsibility and execute what the president has given us.
Wow. Okay, let me welcome my brother here because you know that you want to get it when somebody and they put drum corps outside, they want to beat them, but you want to talk them, you look at you saw some kind of Jew in the crowd. No, I can't tell. I mean, how far with song. You were talking here tonight because they think I don't know what the leadership, who the leader you're referring to. We need to know. We need to know because I love these outline here. Let me bring in the professor himself because I know that true confession. Why you in a few days when leprechaun he confessed, terror he confessed, and you come to NATO where my goodness. Mr. Goya.
Yeah, how are you? I was driving coming home and I heard you mention my name and CDC in the same sentence. So,
Right now, George, we are calling you say, look, we want to hire you.
I laugh so high, I almost got off the road. I think Mr. So full of trouble, I swear.
No, you see when you see me doing things that I get in a hang. Get ready.
Get a phone call. But on a serious note, you know where my mind is. I said this from the day after elections. The CDC need to rebrand and they need to revamp, and that they stay the most powerful opposition political party in Liberia. You can take that from them. They got the most numbers than any political party in any opposition political party. But they have to revamp, and if they're willing to go through the pains of the kind of restructuring that some of us propose, I have no problem with helping them. I mean, I try to help them with their own education platform the last election, like I was helping every other party in Liberia. But I was just laughing when you said it. I almost ran off the road. I think it meant full of too much trouble. But it's nice seeing you all, Mr. Balcon. It's nice seeing you. Again, it's been a while. I heard the propaganda that's been played against you that a whole airport was held at standstill until you could board a plane to leave. How do they call the one of the president going like, bro? Because the Air Force One with our thing. That Wiswa one. I can say on the Wiswa one.
Exactly. Think what's that one with you?
Wiswa on the Wiswa one could pick up for Kim Maserado. You are on, but it's nice to see you, Mr. So. Thanks for having me on. Happy Thanksgiving, pre-Thanksgiving to all of our viewers and to you, my colleagues. I hope you have a lot of things to be thankful for.
Okay, yeah. Somebody said rescue one. Thank you. Thank you. Esther. Rescue one. Thank you.
Rescue one where you said drowning one. You talk about rescue one. You please, Mr. Ketter.
Please, I call a slack for Mr. Washington.
The guy said, "Papi, lack of leadership, no ability, no courage, not confident." How will you say that to your president? Come on, but that's another honesty. Welcome. Let's go to guys. Let's do it this way here. We all know the rule here, so let's dive into what Jerry, quickly here to set the stage for your other colleagues here. What is the essence of this? What have you realized? Because the general perception, we're talking about leadership on a bigger scale. What we're talking about now is what ongoing in Liberia. And if I can make a perfect educated guess, is talking about what happened with the scholarship. I hear you say they dragged the president. Who would drag president into something? This is a guy with a vast experience, or 4, 5, 6 advisors, councils on different things. So they force him to that podium to announce to the Liberian people. Is that an excuse you want to give here? Mr. Bacon.
I think you're frozen.
Look, Mr. So, CEO. Yes, you should have done. You should have.
He got to go on and come back in.
And now they say now they have been suspended. Suspended for what? Suspended for what? You should have done all your investigation. Now, so what happened? First of all, let's go back. Let me say this. Now you're telling say they will reimburse the student who paid their money. Where do we get the money that to reimburse the student? From who pocket? From who account?
Well, ask you. Now you don't want to tell where the money coming from.
No. From who account?
So, but Jerry, you want to play a double standard here. Yes, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, there are a lot of people responsible about, should you also, in a very honest faction, should you also blame the president maybe for not asking much deeper questions? Yes, he put people there, but we can't say the people he put there, those are the people he confided, he trusted to get job done. So whatever decision, and if it is not validated for he as a president to come public with that decision, then of course he has a greater share. Why you want to take him out of there and you want people to be fired? Who you want to be fired in this case?
No, but Mr. CEO, that's why the president put you there. If you send me Jerry, who want you to represent us, to go cover this story, to come and report, I will give you, or before as the editor, I will write everything and give it to you, and you do the analysis, and you based upon my judgment. That's what it is. And the president saying you're on a mission. It's your responsibility, Mr. President, Madam President. Yeah, the AYZ.
Okay, I'm going to be going to your colleagues, but you're starting so soon to put your foot in your throat.
No, I don't put a foot in my throat.
No, you saying,
hold on. Okay,
I'm asking. The president has nothing to do with it because it is the president appointed these people. These people are trusted people, so the president can rely on their trust.
Mr. So, the boss start with the president. The boss start with the president. The boss start with the president. It's the leadership. That's the leadership. No matter if I screw up, it's your leadership.
Okay, let me come to Terry.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. I want you to weigh in on Mr. Bacon's argument here this evening. I think it is leaving it halfway, making you to be confused, to be disoriented into his argument. He brought something good, but a lot of is about to put hook on his neck here. So he is saying he appointed these people, so they should be trusted. And they drag the president? Do you agree with him or his tabata he talking here?
Well, that is Mr. Bacon's opinion, and I get it. Sometimes you get frustrated in some things. But yeah, myself, I was frustrated on that Nicotech stuff without clarity, and I think I said it on the platform that if I were the president, I would have fired the foreign affairs minister because it is alleged that she opened the corridor for those people to come in. So with that being said, but to think that the president is not acting as a good leader, I don't want to agree with that, because in leadership sometimes you are hesitant to take some major decisions, especially when you have just made some very major decisions. For example, they are recalling of ambassadors, Amin Moda resigning, some people being relieved of the positions, suspensions and all. You can be seen, doing what the media is dictating for you to do. All right, then it will seem like you are a coward. So apparently the president have reviewed the decisions and recommendations for him to fire some people, but he reserved, because if he takes some actions, certainly it would seem as if to say the media is bullying him to do what they want him to do, to test him and see his level of weakness. So I don't know, but in my opinion, if I was the president, I would have fired her. But like what I said, politically, there are political guys around the president that guide him into making some strategic decisions so the public can see him to be weak. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
You're putting spin on it as in the case of Jerry Bacon. But before I go to Mr. Boyer here, you see that's a different with you and Sissy, for the most part. Oh, let me see. Oh, I moved this guy, this CDC man. Oh, independent, I forgot.
Well, you moved it. You move your independent.
I moved the independent man. The man is a transformed guy. He has changed. And what I told them, they don't be careful. So, Terry, before I go to Mr. Boyer here, are you saying the president does not have a shared responsibility in this thing here? Who should take responsibility of it?
Well, again, we talked this thing the other time, and Mr. So you're too clever to just keep. The thing here is that the president got people, his lieutenants, people he hired for the specific job. And if they do not deliver, he's supposed to take action on them. So for me, I would not blame the president in totality because he have his people that are supposed to carry out this thing and make sure that it is done properly.
Okay.
But again, it is
That wasn't,
precise.
that wasn't done properly, correct? It wasn't done properly.
Yeah, it wasn't done properly. So like I said the last time, I would blame the people, the president inner cycle. Because if you would allow the president to go sit down over there to sign that kind of thing on some kind of projector, one scam or just lying to him, obviously somebody got to take the blame before the whole entire country and the world. Somebody got to take the blame. That is how leadership runs. You know, somebody have to take the fall. If that one or two person, if that suspension, somebody have to take the fall. You know, but again, I don't know. So, but I would not blame the president for that.
There you go. Yeah. Another Steve Bender of LPR. Okay, Mr. Goya. Let me bring you here. I think these guys are struggling to find the rightful word and to use. Jared sitting down like tomorrow, you're not having Thanksgiving, no turkey for him, he's so quiet. I don't know.
Please. The whole house smell good.
Whatever. I would do emergency learning. But look, on a serious note here, I mean, there's no government that is 100% perfect. But people, the difference with we before Mr. Goyle, our Liberian politicians, it's just very hard because maybe they're not used to just say, look, this one here, we got it wrong. We should have done better than what we did. People will understand, they will see the authenticity on you. But for you to say we must be honest and you can't hear, you start being dishonest and putting spin on it, Mr. Bacon, and you and Terry, the most religious person as well. That is troubling. Mr. Goya, this whole thing here, who should, they say somebody should be fired. I think there must come a time to this president need to put his high voltage 220 current into some of the people who thinks they are untouchable. You know, George Weah started this thing here and it went out of hand. It went out of hand. And maybe what he was doing, he thought these people was as close confidant, they fought for him, they were there for him. And so he gives them that opportunity and all they did, they blew it up completely. And he is the one that paid the political price at the end of the day. Let me bring you in, Mr. Goya.
Yeah, I think the issue of the scholarships it's unfortunate. As a matter of fact, I think Terry, remember we're on this network when I was talking about why even bring those many people abroad to study versus just hearing people out there. We had a discussion about that because I have my own apprehension, not about the authenticity of the scholarship program, but just about the way it was being carried out. Having said that, yeah, this is a national shame, especially so recognizing that there are a lot of Liberians who are just looking for an opportunity to leave Liberia, to go abroad to study, because we lack currently the capacity to provide the quality or quantity of advanced degrees that our Liberian people need. So to bring in a group of people who are seen as trying to prey on the Liberian people's eagerness to leave the country, to go and find higher education and quality education to better themselves and their families, I think is abhorrent. Having said that, however, I do disagree with you vehemently that somehow, some way that this represents a man who has been in government for 50 years plus lack of leadership ability. When you, as a president, nominates and hires the Minister of National Defense, you depend on their person expertise in defense to advise you. And you lean on their expertise, everything in defense. If you hire somebody similarly for justice, you lean on their legal expertise to advise you because you are not necessarily a soldier and a lawyer. It doesn't matter how long you spend in government. So similarly with the issue of the foreign ministry, And so when your chief advisor, or the doyen of the cabinet, comes to you and say, we vetted this and this is what we are vetted to do, yes, you go ahead and do that. You don't go back and try to check and see what my minister of foreign affairs is telling me, is that 100% accurate. You lean on her or him and your advisors, and when they fail, yes, you're going to look bad. And a common example is my superintendent of Minneapolis Public School depends on me, my advice for mathematics and the pedagogy and the way we're going to go. Whatever advice I gave her is what she lean with. That's what she goes to present to the public. That's what she presents to our board. And so if I don't do my due diligence and I give her information that makes her look bad, then it's on me. So I think where the ball is being dropped is who in the ministry, because again, mind you, at the ministerial level, I really hate to believe the foreign minister went out looking for scholarship. This might have been something that started from an assistant minister, a director, working way to a deputy minister, working way out to the minister. There has to be an investigation. Look, here is the shameful part, that it took somebody like Martin Colley less than a week to check on this thing. And the whole government, with access to many more resources than Martin Colley, could not do this. So even check the pictures. It's just like what we did to MCSS, their website. It's simple. You just go there. It takes you less than 20 minutes to check these things out. And so for me, my frustration is that there are a lot of people trying to prove that they're the bigger person in the room way too fast. And they're not checking anything. Everybody just want to be the one. I brought this to the president. I am the big person. I did this. I did this. If you look at the scholarship issue, people are trying to fly the plane while building it. The same thing happened with the Liberian immigration system, that recruitment stuff. Now Steve is under suspension. We had the same argument with them on ELBC that what they were doing was not critically thought out. They didn't think it through. They just ran with something. We're recruiting people for immigration, and it looks big, and the president can look like, oh, these people doing a good job, but they didn't think it out critically. It comes down to the issue of the University of Liberia. You appoint somebody to go back and lead an institution where they have failed at leading. The person was the president proper and they failed, and you send them back to be an interim leader to correct issue. What sense does that make?
Okay, so then let me just hold you. Is it fair, not to be judgmental, then what can we tie it with respect to that sort of decision making by the leaders? Not to put the judgment of the president down, but like that was a perfect illustration you made the other day. And we talk about that here. You raised that concern here. You put this guy there, there was nothing tangible that concrete that you said, oh, this is what this guy did. And because of X, Y, Z, I think we need to take
the promotion.
But then
you get somebody making hold me tax 100%. Then you get into promotion. How does that make sense? Right? So for me, the buck stops at the desk of the president. The president has to take full responsibility of all of these failures. But I think there is a major need for a cabinet retreat, a critical conversation around governance and how people do research. And you don't have to show to CDC that you won and you're doing better than George Weah. The mere fact that you told George Weah from power means we're doing better. You got nothing to prove beyond that.
Dictator with George Weah. Come on, sissy.
Yes, I had to say that because I know we're not coming, so I had to get him.
Yeah, so, and let me just bring in the independent guy here as well, since my independent guy is not here. So, since a part of this, what I see happening here, people want a sort of quick results and acting on the what the public will see as. Yes, we told you this is what's going to be happening. So people are not doing their due diligence to just quickly want to throw things at the president, and they think they can just run through it. Kato, are you there?
I'm here. I'm listening.
Let me just bring you in here. You listen to Jerry Bacon struggling here, crazy here tonight, trying to find words to put together. Terry King here in his political religious argument, and this one do this, that mathematician came and tried to soften the ball to put it on water here. This doesn't hold a tip of water here. These were things that were done by George Weah, and we all blast here. Sise is coming to pour ice in and think he will cook. He think he wants to cook our turkey and pour stuffing in it. That's what I'm going to eat. I'm not going to go to when would I get a flight here to go to Minnesota? By the time I get there, the turkey, everything will be gone. Are you listening to what
Dry turkey will be in the kitchen. That dry turkey.
So thank you, and I'd like to say hi to all my esteemed colleagues on the platform. So I listened to Terry, I listened to Mr. Bacon, and I also listened to my brother Sisse. Everybody tried to hide this president ineptitude, right? They tried to hide this president lack of leadership. But in my brother Sisse, any statement, he says something that is so profound, right? That brought this president to the exact place that we are pushing into as being inept. When Mr. Sisse Goya said, how can you, somebody who have failed and you get in double promotion, somebody who wearing the skinny tight pants and May 70, you saw the man, he performed, but he gained double promotion to be president. The man was there, he didn't do nothing. He failed the institution, and you brought the man back. And you ask a question, what does it say about the leader ability? We shouldn't forget.
And quickly here, what Sisse didn't add the double, I think it's a triple promotion, and because they're sending him to the United Embassy, US, Sisse. And they're sending the guy here, and you
the double promotion I'm talking about is saying to be ambassador.
We can make a triple promotion.
Coming to the US.
So this the thing here. This the thing.
Come on.
This the thing here, right? Liberian people did not vote for those people. The Sarah Beslow Yanti, Liberian people did not vote for her. All of the people that causing this president in the eyes or in the minds of you people who supported him, Liberian people did not vote for them. Liberian people voted for Joseph Numa Boaka Sr., who is the president of the Republic of Liberia. Those people work at his will and pleasure. The decision to undermine him or to undercut his credibility is at his will and his pleasure. He has to detain, or discipline them in ways that it will send a clear message that you guys will not support my policy. You guys will not track my legacy. But if he does not, then it shows that he has no leadership ability. Speaking of that, we saw the issue of the bus with Mandela Cooper. Did it do due diligence to the process? It was a fiasco. We saw the issue of the yellow machine. The president shamefully wrote the Senate to tell the Senate that his friend, one of his best friends, sent and taught about his legacy or his project and allowed these yellow machines. You wanted to give him yellow machine and all that. And it was a fiasco. The president again came back and they made him to read to the international community, the Liberian community everywhere, that they were sending people abroad to go to school, 250 more people, only to find out it was a scam. Where is this president leadership? Where is his ability, his experience? This is what we're talking about. And I think, Sisse, the best thing to study Omer is not to go for a retreat. I think you need people that will give him some kind of counseling to tell him, say, look, you are the leader right now. When these people bring stuff to you, double check it. Bring the people that get around advisor, bring people that will double check. Like you said, they can send it so you can double check it. Because if Martin Colley, like you said, will take less than a week to unearth scheme in government or people coming from outside to skin the Liberian people, one more about the people that are taking pay on the people taxpayer dollars. Why they can't do research?
Okay, let's do it quickly here, Mr. Bacon. I'm concerned. What was the rationale of this here tying in with leadership? Who specifically you are trying to make reference to?
I didn't hear your question.
You see him?
No, I didn't hear your question.
I
That's why you're bouncing back. That's
going
all. I don't want to hear your question.
Okay.
No, what is your
Knowledgeable.
question?
I'm coming. Knowledgeable, ability, courage, confident, personality. All of these are words surrounding leadership and all of that. I'm asking, what was the rationale to whom you were being to really directed that something is like? I strongly believe there is something message you want to get back, but you're still holding back.
Well, when I talk, that's what I talk about. The leadership, the president take responsibility. This is his administration. But those who are the subordinate or lieutenant, they also had the obligation to do due diligence for the Republic of Liberia. They are serving the Republic of Liberia under the administration, and that's where one frustration is. Because if you are given the responsibility, you have to do all your research, that all your identity, and before you present to the president, to not mean list to. That's my point I try to make here. It's not about whether the president is not confident. Hold on, sir. Can I finish? It didn't mean that the president is not confident or he don't have the ability to do it. But those who are given the opportunity, given the opportunity to serve, you should be able to serve the country with your whole heart, rather than you're seeking some financial benefit or anything of that nature. That's the thing that gets me frustrated. That's my frustration. It didn't mean that Mr. Baka is not confident. Mr. Baka is do not have the ability. But the question yet you are being appointed, like my brother said. As an administrator, before you carry anything to your boss, make sure you got all the information that do it, because you know what? It'll make you look stupid. And the second, let me say this. The president, you as a leader, yes. But if your foreign minister brings something to you and say, okay, put on the desk, I want to do another research. You see, it's an insult to your cabinet member as well. So you gotta look at it from a different perspective. But at the question that before you carry it to the president desk or you carry it to your director desk, you make sure you have all the information, because the director trusted you. I'm not saying Mr. Baka, I don't have the ability to lead a country. Precisely, he's a man.
No, that's what I'm saying. Okay, quickly before we go to Terry on the talking point, but I just want to ask a question. If everybody can use maybe 30 seconds quickly here. I've come to realize of late, from the Helen Johnson Sirleaf coming down, like from the Dole time and other people. I used to see VP Moneybat used to. There was a lot of dedication, responsibility. I want to know here. I noticed of lately the presidency is being overwhelmed, being overused. Everywhere the president, to the extent there are some those days, very suddenly you see president go out there to do reporting, to appear, but head of public corporations or people in charge usually proxy the affairs of the president. It's a time to stop that, because if you, like the elephant in the room, be the first to get something done, then perhaps that comes to you. But maybe if the Ministry of Education have done that, like, you know what, the president dedicated the entire task, and yeah, it is. But when you, the president, come forth now, it means all due diligence, your people and everybody have shared notes that it's a time that we start taking our president on every little ceremony to say to dedicate. In as much you want to showcase, is that really necessary? Is it time to take a second thought? Jerry, quickly, 30 seconds.
Yes. Yeah, of course. The president have been made news. The president have been made news. Somebody open a clinic, they say the president go there. Somebody open a go out place, go there. That's why you had a deputy minister. That's why you had a comrade minister. That's why you had the director of police. You had the chief of immigration. These are the responsibility of the deputies to the president. Right. So if that's something to say, every somebody open Taylor shop because the president got to go call Raven. No, nonsense.
Terry, I just want you to 30 seconds. Terry, do you, because we saw George, we were digging everywhere he was there, it makes a silent other people telling, and at the end of the day, you should be the one to be the fixer. But when you're the first to just jump into it, there's no way that any other person can fix it. Terry, do you think it's time for our people to take a second thought to diminish the presence of our president to all these little funny things? Yes, they are important. They are big initiative, but you must have the like if the minister proper or whatever, depending that department, use the head of that department to stand in the gap of the government for the president also. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think you got a point because sometimes people say the president humble. Humanity is not stupidity. When you reach to a certain level in ministry or in life, the protocol, the details, the sovereignty that comes along with that position requires that you don't just appear everywhere. It's not because it don't determine that you're proud. It just simply determine that you are the president, and you being the president cannot be seen everywhere. If it's a natural disaster, like what happens in America here, where somebody go into school and kill up children or so, or
Right.
a natural disaster wherein a hurricane or something came, flooding and thing, and the president goes there to sympathize, or like the way the houses were burning, that's a different scenario. But we're
Right.
in little projects like this kind of thing we're talking about now, that if the president going to sit down there for somebody to be on projector in the living room telling him what will happen with his scholarship, I thought that was very myopic and Desimon for the president itinerary to be all into it. The educational minister could handle that thing with the information minister clearly and squarely. And if anything go wrong or backfire, then the president could say, "Well, I dedicate And
Right.
the issue of the buses, that the way he handled the buses when Mandela Cooper, when she did all that thing, the president was not in the gathering. When they did that thing with the machine, the president was not there. Later on, he responded, and he responded appropriately. So you are 100% right. I think there are some things that the president needs to restrain himself from, which are things like these.
Okay, Mr. Goy, what do you think? Your thought? Do we need to have a second thought and make use of the expertise of people that we have? And as much, whether they're competent, they qualify, whatever it is, they are there, but we just give them the benefit of the doubt to take on responsibility and allow the president focus on some bigger thing.
Yeah, I mean, you got a point. I just got to make a historical clarification that even during the Samuel Doe and Moniba time, the presidency was still the same. It was everything, even taking the kickoff when Lone started playing, that was Samuel Doe doing it. Now, having said that, yes, plausible deniability. You have to be able to shield your boss, right? The president or your boss has to have a wiggle room to deny knowledge of something. Plausible deniability. Look, people have to start adding value to the office of the president. I'm not talking about Joseph Boakai. I'm not talking about George Weah. I'm talking about just that office. Whoever occupies it. There has to be. You can't just make the thing cheap. Let me just talk a LeBron way. It just like people just waste me 2 for 5. My man will beat me and I know money. Go 2 for 5. They're not talking flair.
Player.
Yeah. You have to make the presidency scarce so that when the office of the president appears, people have some value. Next week, somebody will be circumcising their child somewhere in SDMR there in Nukutan there. The president will go there.
The guy is crazy. Somebody be what?
Circumcising their son. But here was the point I'm trying to make. Regardless of who's in office, I said that when George Weah was in office, I said that, Madam Salim and I never got along. Everybody, for me, that was an open secret. I keep saying this. We started making fun of George Weah about breaking grounds everywhere, digging holes so many places that we get earthquake because they kept going in there. Every little place you bring the president to come break ground. Same thing happening right now. When is one government going to learn from the mistakes of the current government that they are going to succeed so that you don't do the exact same thing? Because if you're going to do the exact same thing, why should we even bother voting to kick out the other people there? And what bothers me the most is that I wrote on my Facebook page that the gap between what we know and what we do is so wide. There is a lot of people that know better, but they don't do better. What was the benefit? What was the essence? What was the political gain to be made by carrying the president to talk about a scholarship fund versus using the education ministry, versus using the deputy minister of education for administration who was in charge of scholarship, the director of scholarships at the Ministry of Education. The director of scholarships, if that thing goes wrong, it stays right there. The director of scholarship doesn't even rise to the level of a deputy minister. But you drag the president staying there. It's the same thing that happens when the people allow every Tom, Dick, and Harry to take pictures with the president or is granted audience by the president. Because when those people go and commit crimes, they come right back. Without not the president just shaking hand, I did. Somebody friend Jackie Obis, the president and my friend, it comes back. We have to be stingy with the office of the presidency. That's the only way we add value to that office.
And what you say is true. What was the incident? Something was going on, and it has to do like a State Department. And so I contacted the embassy. Yeah, that was the embassy. You know, the people have an organized and arranged system. There was something that was going on here. We had a deep conversation here, and I even have that when I contacted the embassy, you know what they told me? They directed me to the State Department. And when I contacted the State Department, the naked waiter they gave said, okay, before somebody, unbelievable. You know, so there is a way that you can even stay away from it because they know the implication. Getting to media, it's easier to make it worse than better because they want to take time to respond. And when they respond, let it respond at once. Keta, let me bring you. Is that something we must consider during now, like all the other gentlemen have said?
I mean, it's very important. It's very important, and I can, I agree with my brother sister. Look, I think where we have taken our presidency is like we put it on banjo. Anybody who can just say anything, and sometimes I blame those very people because they stood down so low. They make the presidency look like it's just common, anything common. Take, for example, even President Weah, when he was in office, somebody brought about Air Liberia or Fly Liberia, all kind of plane. No due diligence to the process. They made a man look like a complete Santa Claus sitting out before a cake to cut. Only to find out that today, I don't know whether he ever flew to Air Liberia. Zero. Can you imagine? No, let's be honest. Let's be very honest. And I say to people, even talk show hosts that use social media to even advocate for leadership to come to office. For leadership to come to office, they feel entitled. They feel entitled. So if they pick up phone, they call, and that person don't pick up, the president don't pick up the phone call, they go back on social media and denigrate the presidency. Oh, look, let me tell you something. We know back in the days, I'm talking about prior to our civil war and prior to the coup, there was a saying in Liberia. They said the shovel and the wheelbarrow, the rake that built the executive mansion, the noble park before it. Do you know what that saying means? We can sit down and say we want Joseph Walker, we can go and put our neck on the line. When he become president, we don't go close to him anymore because that's the highest seat. It should be honored. Even though the president has a way of coming to the people to identify with them, but we as people should respect that seat. But we don't do that these days. So anybody can sit down and say, oh, no matter, man, he was in Minnesota or he was in Rhode Island and he asked for our vote, we vote, we get our money, we get to them.
Why the president in Connecticut, you gotta call Minnesota and Rhode Island? Why not Connecticut?
We got the two places you where you can cut to your state and go to that area.
So that we power take it with the powerhouse. So we fine. We okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So they gotta come. Ellington's already kilo Connecticut anyway with met her here and stuff. But I want
But I only get 3 Liberians in our play, man. Just leave it.
yeah, my man. Jelly man, una bene Luna. You probably put my stay also there. No, but on a serious note, I for one, the way I see, and I talk to seditions, and and the president, even the officials that they were employed or hired by the president of working government, because they felt all of them came from humble beginning, they should continue going and sit with them and eat in lapabido. And I said, no, it don't work like that. I said, when you subscribe or say I'm supporting this political institution, your benefit should be what that institution can do for the country in general, not for you personally. And why people get disenchanted. Oh, I called Jefferson Coach, you don't pick up my phone again because dude, this guy level change. If Cecil leave on here right now and become a big boss in Liberia, the way we can pick up phone and call my man for answer me, you're not.
I will stay beyond LPR. I will stay be coming to LPR. Don't put my name in your part. Don't use me for example.
No, but that's just it. Mr. Toh Samson Blackwood Toh, the liberal celebrity, went to LBS, became a celebrity, self-imposed celebrity. You call Mr. Toh, forget it. In fact, the man said he cannot equal.
Kim, you're boasting. They love me. They love me. I'm the guru. What happened? They kicking or he can't go again.
You just want to take my papa for underground to them. What are you doing that thing for?
Man, he gets the energy again. Okay, thank you so much, Keto. Let's go to Terry talking point. Terry, I think you brought some fascinating point here. Let's dive into A here. You were talking about, even though we're talking about the scholarship, but let's look at the implications of what happens today at the Capitol Hill, which of course is a temple of justice. With this thing here, where are we heading to? What do you think? But there are a couple of things I've been hearing from the COFA folks. All they have been saying the rule of law. Whatever the court says, we're going to abide by it. Whatever the court says, they're going to abide by it, putting themselves on record, which of course is what they are arguing for. So we hope they will also, whatever happens at the end of the day, there will be no ball, some kind of conjunction. Oh no, it didn't go their way. That's what we want. But from what we know here, I've been reading some. There are always sensational news and all of that. If you look at the Liberian investigator, Supreme Court questions the legality of Richard Combs' election as Speaker. They will always give this sort of stuff here. But Ceci, I'm not Ceci. Terry, let me call to you. You started. You've been speaking out on so many fronts with respect to this here. Where you think this thing gonna land? Where this ball gonna land?
Well, my guess will be that Supreme Court may withdraw themselves from in it. They may say, because when I listen to the questioning, even the investigator, what you just said, I didn't hear that in the questioning when I was watching from the other network. What was asked was not the legitimacy of Richard Combs' leadership because it had nothing to do with the Constitution. According to what I read about the Supreme Court that I've been insinuating on this network, is that the Supreme Court can only rule against another branch of government when they violate the Constitution. The Supreme Court is not going to rule against the legislature based upon the legislative rules, because the legislative rules are not constitutional. They are rules governing the legislature. They are rules that are governing the functions of the legislature. So to rule on the basis of the legislature rule is like you are interfering in the rest of another branch of government. for what I've been reading, that how I understand it. I could be completely reading because I'm not a lawyer.
Okay, so then quickly, yes, what happens if that legislations or whatever guideline rules that they have, that if it infringe on the Constitution or someone constitutional sort of provision to what will you think the Supreme Court are going to do? Yes,
Then they would nip it. They will nip it. Then they will nip it in the butt. They will say, this particular, that is why Senate, you ask the question to Arthur Johnson. And she said to him, can you show whether if what the majority black did that were unconstitutional? And Arthur Johnson could not explain that. From what we heard from the guys that were in the court that were relaying the information, the journalists that were relaying the information, Arthur Johnson could not explain the violation of the Constitution carried out by the majority black. They brought then the senator asked what he need, Fanny Sherman, in regards to Article 33. And what was revealed was shocking when I listened to it. It was that Article 33 insists that each house, can conduct a quorum with a majority. Then one of the justices on the bench said, he even modified it. He said, the majority that can constitute a quorum can even compel their colleagues to come to come to where they have a quorum. That is why I heard when the journalists were relaying the information and he reiterated it.
Okay, so
here is the thing here. All right. And from what we heard, that is what on that position, the Supreme Court asks the justice minister to weigh in on the conversation as regarding what he recommends. And that is when the justice minister said that based upon what we are seeing here, there was no constitutional violation. So my recommendation is for you to restrain, because any act of trying to rule on this matter, you will be interfering into another branch of government. That is how the justice minister weigh in on the matter.
Okay, let me bring in Sister here. There are some cases, there are some time I listened to some of these, what were happening to the different network, and people, media practitioners, reporters, there are some cases, there are some things you gotta be very, very serious. You don't add, you don't subtract. But people tend to kind of like create some sort of political satire into the conversation. Oh, they may run in the no, because these are very consequential, crucial things about our country. So you got to report precisely what is said, what you know. You don't add, you don't subtract. Let me bring you over here, Sissy. We don't know. It wasn't opened. They were there. We don't know what they said. I had to speak to that here. Sissy, from what we see so far, ultimately, I believe at the end of the day, there will be a vote. They've got to listen to both sides, their argument, legal argument, whatever, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, I think they're going to remain in chambers, and they're going to maybe ultimately take a decision as to how the decision will be taken. I don't know, but they are listening to both parties here. Where are we heading with this whole thing?
I keep saying that this is going to be resolved politically. But one place I differ with Terry, the Supreme Court is the final arbiter. That's what the Constitution says. It didn't say the final arbiter of constitutional crisis. It said the final arbiter. If you and I even sign a contract and we both disagree on the four corners of that contract, even though it is something between you and I, it is still the Supreme Court as the final arbiter. So whether there are rules that govern a House or the Senate, if there is a disagreement in the interpretation of their rules, it is the Supreme Court that is the final arbiter of that. There are no laws, no contracts, no regulations, no rules that are not reviewable by the Supreme Court if there is an argument on the understanding. That is the reason the Supreme Court exists. And the last part that talks about who can compel who to come, that constitutional provision clearly states it is the minority that can compel the majority to come. So for me, I was not in the courthouse today, so I'm not going to speculate on who said what, who didn't say what, because there are some places reporting that the Justice Minister did not even opine today, and there are some places saying that he did. So for me, until I can see something, I'm not going to opine on what the Justice Minister said or did not say. Now, I keep saying that this is going to be an issue that's going to be resolved politically. The Supreme Court can rule on the constitutionality of the process, but it cannot instill the leader of the House. It can say that the process that brought Richard Cohn to being the Speaker was illegal, and so it has to be redone. But if those people go back and say we can't sit under the Speaker, it still creates a problem that has to be solved politically. And for me, this is why I'm looking at the likes of the former President George Weah to see how politically savvy the CDC is going to be. And I'm looking at the current president, Joseph Nyama Boakai, to see how politically savvy the ruling party is going to be in resolving this. But I'm also looking at the likes of Alexander Cummings and my own guy, Tewa Gonglo. Because for them to just sit on the sidelines and put their hands up because we don't have a representative in the House, I think it is an abdication of their responsibility to the Liberian people by virtue of contesting to run. They should be right now calling legislators, trying to cajole people if they already aren't doing it, to get these people, pick one side, just push the people that every doing it. If you're going to go with Speaker Kofa, big people from the other side, just push them to Kofa, let them go one for all. We're tired with anything here. If you're going to go with Kuhn, then make sure that Kuhn gets 49. Just find people. If you're going to bribe them already. We already understand it. But at the end of the day, I think what gives me some confidence is that on both sides. I've seen some representatives talk about the rule of law. Wherever way the Supreme Court rule is the way they will go. Yaka Koloba is on record for saying that. DJ Blue has said that. Representative Norman has said that. There are a lot of people, I think, the core of the amount of representatives that have said that is enough to break either side of the block. So, but I'm also
quickly here, Mr. Goya, quickly here before I go. Do you see that part to be a turning point, regardless of decision coming from the executive, especially those who are saying we are on the side of the law?
Well, here's the thing.
Do you think they're going to be the deal breaker in this whole thing?
If we were dealing with credible people, and I'm saying that because when I call it, brother can do whatever they want to do. But if we were dealing with credible people, I would say yes. But we're not. So it depends on what music DJ Ziggy Zag Blue is playing. What are you playing? Jump back, set me free, jump back. They'll be jumping back and forth, going on and attack, coming back. So for me, it's that is the point. But at the end of the day, but you went out song from
we dance our song too, but
on a serious note, though, at the end of the day, somebody will cry. Somebody money will go in vain. Because some of these people will have to take one side, and if you already giving them money, they will go on the other side, and your money will still follow them. And apparently, there's no reform policy, so we got to wait for the Supreme Court to judge the other case again. When you take somebody money, you made a speaker, you're in the Supreme Court. We got to have the other case coming through.
Okay, let me go to Mr. Bacon. Something I don't know, maybe I didn't catch it today, and if any of you guys don't hesitate to just bring it up here. There was one factor that was also taken into consideration in terms of what allegedly money was induced into the process of removing. We need to know that money, because I had an interview with representatives, this guy from Bapolo here, who took that money and reported that money to LSCC, and all of that receipt was given to him as part of the process to remove this speaker. We are not hearing anything about it. I'm not sure whether the defense thing with Arthur Johnson, all of that will factor in to say, hey, this is one of the components, this is one of the things that even make this process to be a fraudulent process, because there was some financial arrangement, or there was some finances given to people to influence their decision making. I'm not sure whether that was did you guys hear that today? Back on. Is that something, is a factor? If they didn't bring it out, then I'm surprised why the defense team would not bring it out.
But here's the thing from the beginning. For the genesis of the whole thing, it started from in an identical car where money was changing hands, somebody on video receiving money. I still stand with my statement. By the time of the day, somebody should have been in handcuffs, somebody should have been in South Beach already, but it has not been done. The Minister of Justice is on mute. They are, excuse me, the FCC, they're all on mute. Look at their statistic. How many people have they been prosecuted to say, yes, we're sending people, this is our record? So Mr. To and Mr. So, it's very frustrating. The Minister of Justice is on mute. The Ministry of Justice is on mute. The FCC or RCC or wherever they need, everybody's on mute. Where are we going with the criminal justice system in our country? We're afraid a crime will committed broad day. But anyway, let's come to the issue that I'm on here right now. This is what I'm thinking. Let me before I get to that one. The vice president of the Republic of Liberia, he's a senior advisor to the president. What's his position? Other than on me. The vice president, he's a senior advisor to the president. We can get national security advisor, military advisor, but he is the president who go and have breakfast with the president, or we can go with maybe once a week or twice a week. All depends. The relationship between you and your vice president. You can meet, periodically. What his position? What he want to whisper to the president, Mr. President, this is what's going on. This is what I'm hearing. This is, this is what needs to be done. But when it comes to the issue of the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court will send it back to the House. That's my feeling. But if the Supreme Court say the majority win or make the decision in the favor of the majority say, okay, this is what it is. If it's the minority, the cover group, the law, there'll be an outburst. So I'm very concerned how the Supreme Court going to rule maybe tomorrow or the after tomorrow, whatever time they rule. So let's just wait and see. And I'm afraid that I hope we'll be civilized enough that when the Supreme Court give her verdict, let's take it. We as the Liberian Supreme Court have spoken, and let's respect the rule of law. Our God did it here in America. George Bush versus our God, and say our God said, okay, for the sake of the country, the Supreme Court has spoken. There's no other way I can go. So I hope, ladies and gentlemen, those are in the House of Representatives. When the Supreme Court make her decision, let's respect the rule of law. Let's do the Liberian people job. That's what they hire you for. It's not about political win or you lost, but that's the rule of law. And that's how the system set up. It's our system. So let's respect the system. That's all I can say for now.
Let's respect the system. Kepta. So assuming playing the devil advocate here and for discussion purposes, can we say the executive also have a shared responsibility in terms of the decision coming from the court in making sure, because they execute, they implement, right? Whatever the court says, if you went to court today and you were sentenced, at the end of the day, it is done. Once the court takes that decision, it is the government that enforces that, and sheriff will come and take you to a correction facility. So they implement court order. So this is the sticky one here too. Do you think it's also the government had a shared responsibility, no matter how the outcomes of the result, to make sure that they also, go with it? Or will the Ministry of Justice come to say, oh, no, this is so? Even though they have the right to do it, they represent government interests.
I think the government has a responsibility to protect and provide peace and security for all these people. So I think where the government will start to, implement the court decisions or the court ruling will be, okay, take for example, my brother and sister were talking about, who will go where after the ruling. So they assume that Fanatic Kofa received additional, 4 or 5 people joining him that will give him a little bit of quorum, or when giving the ability now to lead the house. And those guys are still insisting that they're not moving. There's something in the rules or in the constitution that said, and that's why I wanted to even correct Terry. I think James Goodday Flomo misspoke when he said that they heard news from in the courtroom that the majority, that the lawyer Yusuf Kaba, the Associate Justice Yusuf Kaba said that the minority can demand the majority, the majority can demand the minority to come to the house. That was he misspoke. The law is saying that the minority can make the other lawmakers who are out there to come, they can enforce them to come in to section. So it was the other way around. So there, if they get to the place where Fanatic Kofa has been reinstated or giving his power back, and he started to invoke the law that says that these people are not coming to work, to declare the seat vacant, and it caused chaos. Then when the government can come in to reinforce or to enforce the law. But as far as the court decision right now, the lawmaker has to agree. They have to agree that, look, we got to be responsible. We got to sit under the speaker gavel, and we will present our case. He will recuse himself, and we'll go into the proper way. And if we can get him guilty, they can get the 49 vote, the voting. Or if they can do that, they just move with the legislature agenda in the interest of the Liberian people, because it's not serving us well. But I will not see the executive, pushing them to say the Supreme Court ruling, you guys have to follow it with all, without force. No, it don't happen like that. That's not how the Supreme Court, the executive will do it. On other cases, when the court make decision, the decision from the court has to be enforced by the executive. But in this case, I don't think that's the case, except it goes to another step. I could be wrong, and I stand to be corrected, except it goes to another level where
Can I provide information?
Go ahead.
Or what I listen to, like senior brother sister said something. The justice ministry, the justice minister passed the information through the solicitor general of the justice ministry, and relayed the recommendation to the court, because the court did ask his opinion on the matter, and that is how he transferred the information based upon the journalist. It's possible that what Keto is saying is true, because myself read that law that talk about the minority can compel. So I was surprised when I heard Gude Flomo relaying the information from the Justice Chimo, stating that the justice said that in that regard. But however, what was the conclusion of the matter on the justices? The conclusion of the matter was they came to a position wherein it was not clearly proven that there was a constitutional breach. That was the main thing in the whole entire discussion. Because if you talk about, the due process, the questions were posted on due process, and they were clearly stated that the due process you're talking about, the man was called several times, he was sent letters more than 3 occasions, and all those documents are in the chambers. The only thing I see, there are 5 justices, and 3 of them have to vote to in favor of one concept, of one opinion, or 4 of them, and the majority who votes claim the day will determine the opinion of the Supreme Court, and that will become a precedent. So we hope to see that.
Yeah, and that would be a very interesting one. So without us knowing the details here now, I'm wondering how this is gonna play out, Sissy. Because, and like I said, they listen to the argument of both sides. The next thing is to take it in chambers to say, okay, and they give their opinions, depending on the outcome of their opinions, what they think the violations constitutionally, if what about they're going to put it to a vote? I don't know. Their vote is a close one or whatever it is. What are we going to know at the end of the day, or we just going to know the outcome? That's an interesting one, though.
Well, I mean, I don't know, because there has to be a majority opinion written, right? And I don't think the Supreme Court, I hope the Liberian Supreme Court is not going to vote in secrecy on something that borders on a constitutional crisis. If you're going to vote, you should be waiting for folks to know which side you voted on. And there has to be a majority opinion and a minority opinion rating. And we'll see how the justices were thinking. I'm usually very hesitant to speak about how the court will rule on day one of questioning. We're seeing that here in the U.S. We're seeing that in many places. The justices come with their own questions from the beginning. Sometimes they can be hard on one side. That doesn't necessarily mean that they agree with the other side, but sometimes they're trying to clarify their own or solidify their own beliefs that they believe this one side. They want to get all doubts away. So for me, really, I'm ignorant on what happened because, again, I too have listened to the media things out there. I'm very critical. I like to be concerned about the information that I consume, because quite too often, if you eat all the food the Liberian media give you, you will get diarrhea. Because sometimes it's not clean. It's not sanitary. So I want to be careful with what I digest, especially coming from a co-spoon or copa. Having said that, I'm going to wait and see how the justices rule. Because again, look, let me say this. You all know me on this network when Fonatif, I like to call him Fonatif, because it's Fonatif. When Fonatif Kofa was running to become a speaker, I didn't like the idea. Neither did I like the idea when Tifa also went on the other side to go and stay there. But what I like about what Fonatif is doing is that he's getting our Supreme Court to lay a precedence, like Terry is saying, because the other two times when it happened, those speakers resigned and they left it. So this time around, there's going to be a test of both the judiciary and the executive. When the Supreme Court rules, and they rule that these people have to go back to do this thing all over, and they refuse. And Fonatif refuses to resign like what Tyler did or what Snow did. Is the executive going to honor the ruling of the Supreme Court and deal with Fonatif Kofa? Or are they going to bend that? Because for me, that is where I'm waiting to see. Because the executive cannot be in the business of choosing which law they enforce. Right? If the Supreme Court ruling comes out, they have to enforce it. So we'll be waiting to see that. But for now, for me, I don't want to speculate, because sometimes the justices ask questions based on which way they're leaning and sometimes which way they're not leaning. So I want to wait for that.
Okay. What a great conversation. Seems to be it. Mr. Bacon. You have an opposing view to what Mr. Goya said?
No. I mean, we just wait and see what the Supreme Court going to say. Then we'll take it from there. Like I said, let the system play it out. Do I support the current speaker? No. But that's the system. We need to respect the system in our country. That's the only way we will have the rule of law in our country. It's simple.
Okay. Terry?
Yeah, right. But actually, another thing I wanted to highlight is that the two persons into
I beg you, I gotta leave. I will see you tomorrow. If we don't have a good Thanksgiving, I gotta run.
Y'all know all the AFL soldiers to all the borders. Mr. Bacon gotta be dealing with the people, coordinating with them. So the making the
They're calling on the Intel?
Yeah.
All right, I will stay. Go ahead. I will stay. I just go ahead, Terry. I'll come right back. Go ahead. No, come on. I'll come right back.
We got less than 10 minutes to go, and then you walk out.
No problem. I'll be right back.
Yeah. When it comes to me as an individual and another person, common citizen, going through some crisis, and you go before the Supreme Court will rule on in regards to our rights under the Constitution. But when
Yeah,
it
caller,
comes
I will bring you in. You wanted to participate. Just hold on 1 second. Let my
when it comes to branches, there is a whole different ball game based upon the separation of power. And one of the things that I read was judicial review. That is what the Supreme Court is carrying on now. That's what made me to make a statement that the Supreme Court is not going to interfere with the rules of the legislature in the House, what they do in the House per the rules. But the Supreme Court will rule, especially when it comes to dealing with the body. The Supreme Court is going to rule on the basis of the violation of the Constitution, not the violation of the rules of the House, because the rules of the House, the Constitution gave the legislature the power to create
So
a
quickly
rule.
before I go to the callers, which whether House rule, House gala, House this, Constitution, which one supersede the take preeminence with this whole thing here? That yes, he can violate the law, but I kind of find it difficult. But you will respond. Let's get this callers. Let's get just get a caller. Let's go to the line here. 719 number to 0499. Good evening, caller.
Yes, so this is D. I'm calling from Iowa.
Okay, let's hear you. How are you doing?
Question.
Huh?
The issue with the Supreme Court, the way they're trying to get rid of the guy called the Sinoti Kofa. So my question is, wasn't the representative soliciting bribe to get rid of this guy? Is there a constitution that protects criminals to illegally remove another criminal? Because this guy now is being projected as a criminal, this Sinoti Kofa guy, but he was soliciting bribe to get rid of him. So by logic, doesn't that illegitimize the idea of that whole scenario, if that is true? Because there was a list that they were soliciting bribe to get rid of this guy. So why are they even giving credence to that if that is true? What the heck is going on, man?
Well, hopefully, I wish you knew the answer. And that's the same thing we're asking. I was wondering whether the defense team ever raised that, because it was a complaint. He said that even copied, and he was given a receipt, money that was given. So we don't know how many other persons, where that money coming from. And there must be some sort of investigation, but that seems to be put aside, and we just do not know. But I'm quite sure that was also raised, but we wonder who will find out here. But it's a legitimate question, because anything that will influence people's decision making with something being rewarded, that is influences the actual actions.
I think that should have been the center of this discussion, because with that not being scrutinized, many people have gone for after that. How to get down to the whole thing. That's how you know these guys are not serious, man. But thanks for the show, sir. I will sit back and listen.
Okay, buddy. Let's hear from Elvis from Minnesota. Elvis.
Okay, so how you doing? Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving in advance.
It's a good afternoon to you and the panelists. Thanksgiving to you all in advance. Look, I like when man Terry, playing the quasi-motor lawyer, It's always good when you try to protect the ball for some of us lay people. So you keep asking me the real question. What, does the House rule supersede the Constitution? Of course not. Anybody will tell you that. LSCC is very the opposition, putting into, putting charges on them. When a guy from, I think, from Kidmouth, brought up this allegation about cash being, given for them to remove the speaker, LCC said they were looking to, I'm guessing they wanted to look into it after the situation is so not to investigate it right now, why it's still hot. But look, like I said, the thing that President Boyka is trying to do was backfire in his face big time. It will backfire on him. If you're trying to govern using strong arm, tactics, you remind us of child stealer days. You remind us of people who are trying to be dictators, people who are actually, dictators in that country. And for Terry, Acosta, or men to be always on the side of right, is trying to push themselves into pressures to explain away the illegality and gangsterism that's going on in the house, it's a disappointment for some of us. You have to take a step back, regardless of who you support. This is illegal. The international community themselves is trying to come and talk to us, and we're not hearing it. So we think here is a thief. Those losses are going on with Jimmy. All kinds of little murmurings coming up from our neighbors. All of these losses are not happening on George Weah. I'm not saying he's a better leader, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of things that's bubbling up that might have wider implications. If President Barker already sit down in that country and already try to cover, try to make alliances, both domestically and internationally, things are going to get out of him. When Trump comes into office, we don't know what's going to really happen on the continent. He's a loose cannon, we don't know what's going to happen. We have to clean house, or we have to make peace with our neighbors. That's just my advice to the president.
Thank you so much. Let's go take this last call before we make our final comments. 443 number to 0321. Good evening, caller.
Mr. Soul, and to the panelists, I say hi.
Good.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to
This is Mr. Mawolo.
Oh, Mr. Mawolo.
Listen, I heard a brother over there calling, the speaker criminal and this and that and all the kind of things. My brother, we need to stop this thing. This thing is bigger than who we like and who we don't like, because this thing borders on what's going to happen to that country. Whether we go back into fighting again or we sit quietly. What's happening now, I've heard a lot of accusations. Perhaps these people brought any proof at all. So you got to take it as propaganda. Do you really think these people have real proof? They say, okay, the speaker overspent his budget. How does a speaker overspend his budget? Put yourself in that case. If it was you, the money is not in your office that you can just take it and go overspend it. The finance ministry has to give it to you. So on what basis did the finance ministry give it to you? We hear all the time that they flood the NSA budget with money and they go back and take it out. They did the same thing with the speaker budget when they wanted to buy cars and this and that for the House of Representatives. They flooded his budget and used it to go do it. Now to come and say somebody ate $7 million and it is $7, show me proof. Show me paper trail. There's none. Up to now, all we hear is accusation. You can't base on that and call somebody criminal, my brother. Put yourself in that case. If it was you, would you want somebody to do that? Let's be fair to this scenario, because this is about Liberia. Look, I care less about Fonati Kopa or whoever. It could be a dog that will a speaker. Let these people follow the procedure, because it will be good for all of us. Just like if they don't follow the procedure and the court accepts it, we will have anarchy in that country. Nobody will follow any procedure. There will be change of speaker every 3 months. There will be change of vice president, president, pro tem, and minister. Everything. People just gather and say, we don't want the president, we in majority. And what we're going to do, we're going to sit down here and say, oh, but we didn't think it was going there. That's where it's going. So let's take it very, very seriously. Let's take it very seriously. And now for who we like, whether it's Kofa, it's whoever, the procedure is wrong. This is our House of Representatives. Let's not joke with it. If they make a mistake there, it will flow down to all of us.
Thank you
let's
so much.
do it right and let this country be in peace.
All right, Mr. Manolo, thank you so much for your participation. Okay, guys, let's call it this evening here. We'll try to be as much as possible. Oh boy, that's one of our main men here. Let me add a liberal. Okay, let's hear to you. 214. Is that David?
Hey, Mr.
Clarence.
Hey, Mr. How you doing?
You see, when patrol here, then you're not friendly with me. Then you now you're being so nice to me here this evening. The papa run away. The papa you will pull for. Welcome. Good evening.
Yeah, Mr. Happy Thanksgiving Day to all of you guys.
Same to you, buddy. Thank you so much for your commitment to this network. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
So, well, let's hear you. They say the Supreme Court now sent a result to you?
No, I've been my prayer that Fonatico will win a case because in the first place, I know from what the step that these people have been taking in the past, or not, you're not doing it the right way because you can't elect somebody, he getting an account of coup d'etat. I've been supporting Fonatico from the beginning up to this present. But what I call to say, the color I left from the land, in Liberia, every group has their own criminal to support. All these guys that we are talking about, all of them had a criminal record, even down to the Falao, according to us, they say, the T-File, the Fonatio, all these people have a criminal record. But if we want for the country to go forward, there are not among good people in getting to put in leadership. Because if we continue with this path, Nigeria will not go forward. Nigeria will not go forward. We know for the way that they step that they are taking for that, right for them, you will win the case. You will win the case. But the chief of power, but they're sending a two-form president versus current president. We need a identical case and watch it here. You will see at the end. One side, another group supporting one side. Yeah, that's why I call to let you know.
Thank you so
much. So that he will win the case, and all the for the 3 or 47 minutes will end up going back to say honor for that team.
Suppose Clarence.
Yeah.
Suppose it goes the way of it. That's your side. I'm not saying your side is not valid. Suppose it goes the way of it. How will you feel, you as a Liberian? Do you think then the justice system is not right or what?
Liberia, Liberia, according to a chart channel, he said, there's actually a group of human beings in Liberia. The justice, our people on the Supreme Court bench there, listen, what money cannot do? What money can do? Most of the people that we are talking about, most of the people they have record, even the person Supreme Court judge or Siane, she had a corruption case just they see here. They keep on they see here. So you think that these people, somebody can go a broad day and they teaching about, but when they teach it, to tell they can again for that, he come out there and give out on like this. So.
Okay. Don't let your pressure go up.
No, go up. I know God, he doesn't know that for that he will win the case. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, guys, let's wrap it up here. What is the take home? What is the turkey? I think Jerry on a turkey already done. He won't cook now. He won't get a piece before going to bed. Away, he just rolling all in the chair there and get his little holy wine. Okay, Mr. Bacon.
I don't eat after 8 o'clock.
Labrador story so huge. Anything, we don't even know what's going to pop up tomorrow, Thanksgiving Friday or whatever. And there's some kind of drama. Don't be surprised. Some kind of drama will come. Somebody going to sit in front of media and say something. What are we going home with tonight?
Just wait. Again, I tell the Liberian people, let's use the 3 fundamental principles of life. The patience of Job, the wisdom of Solomon, and the strength of Samson is the last option. So let's use the patience of Job. That's all I gotta say. Be patient, Liberian people.
Who's gonna be the Samson in this case?
That's why we've got to wait. That's the last resort.
Okay, all right. Mr. Collins, what are we going with, and what do you think going to be another surprise news tomorrow?
Well, I don't know if tomorrow will be the day that the Supreme Court will hand down ruling. We see that they're handing down ruling on Saturday and all. But I'm hopeful that they might, they might do it, before next week, Tuesday, and my prediction could be that they will say that we don't see where the majority black went against the Constitution, but advise that if Honorable Kofa wants to get due process, they should follow the rules and give him due process. That is the only prediction so far I'm seeing, because people keep arguing on the foundation of due process, and the due process here, Supreme Court is not actually finding wherein the due process that Honorable Kofa is supposed to receive contravene the Constitution itself. And that is the reason why the first justice ruled, because to be honest, I thought Fonati were going to file a different writ, but he just rebranded the writ and filed the same writ to them. All right, that they should declare the majority black unconstitutional. So a first justice have already ruled, and his ruling was he disembarked by saying, I cannot issue a writ of prohibition or a stay order on the majority black, compelling them to come under your gavel, because they have declared, they have the right, a group of majority have the right to say, we don't want to be under your gavel. That is not unconstitutional.
Okay.
And the aspect of giving due process could coincide with the rules, all right? And it is not in the Constitution stating that to remove your speaker, you should give him due process. For what her name, for Senator, you quoted two articles today, if the journalists were accurate, which is Article 66, indicating that you got found up arbitrary, and Article 33, where the contention is. So I'll wait to see, because it will be based upon those two articles that she will make her, that they will make the final ruling as to where, if the Constitution were breached in these regards.
Okay, Ketot, let's hear you, and then Mr. Boyer will close it off.
Well, thank you. Good conversation. Yeah, show was decent.
What are you hoping? What are you watching for? Now, both sides, they were able to be represented today. They argue out of the legality, the this and that. Where is the nervousness coming from now, if there's any?
Well, I'm not nervous because I have no fish to really fry in the whole thing. I'm just analyzing and thinking that the rule of law should be upheld, and if the Supreme Court should be there, and it is the final arbiter of justice, I think they will have to go by the rule of law. I just pray that the minority group or the majority group will understand where the Supreme Court laid her gavel, that will move the country forward. For now, I'm not going to speculate on who's going to win or who's it's going to be in favor of. I just hope that the right decision be made, and we all can sit and say, yes, rule of law, succeed in this whole case. Because we have a country to protect. We have, and I always say on this platform that regardless of who we support, Liberia is above all. We are young people. We have seen the failure of our leaders, and we cannot continue to put our faith in them, but put our faith in the country and see if we can change the status quo. But we have to be honest in doing it.
Okay. Mr. Goya, put the cap on this thing here. Yes. Look at all of the critical points, past history. What are you carefully looking for in this whole thing? Now, the two sides, they made their argument. Who was in there? We don't know who really put out the stuff fight, who doesn't, whatever it is. But what do you think lacking, or what are you looking for ultimately at the end of the day from the Supreme Court?
Yeah, and to Terry's point, Terry, I just received a text message. The Supreme Court will be ruling on Saturday at D Calabash after DJ Ziggy's That Blue will be on the turntable.
Sissy, this is a serious no.
The message is Supreme Court ruling on Saturday.
So that D Calabash they're going to get flavor for the country. Oh, what happened?
That's the reason why they put on Terry Kiss to that.
I won't be in contempt of Ko Angola, bro.
Yeah, now you brought us out of the business. So the man after that to D Calabar. So D Calabar.
Terry told me, Supreme Court, I can't let bro, please don't hold me container Terry. But having said having said that though, here's one thing I'm happy for as somebody who's willing to learn, that there will be a ruling from the Supreme Court settling on what is due process. Because what due process looks like varies from entity to entity, right? So what is actual due process as defined by the layout in the house? So I would love to, I really want to read the opinion, the majority opinion and the dissenting opinion on that. But what I'm really looking forward to is the day after the ruling. Those representatives that have told us that they will follow the ruling of the Supreme Court, would they live up to their promises to follow the rulings of the Supreme Court and the action of the executive? Will the executive follow the rulings of the Supreme Court if it doesn't fit whatever side? I don't know if they have sides, but if they do have side, if it doesn't fit their side, would they follow? Would they enforce the ruling of the Supreme Court? Or will we go back to where a Supreme Court rules and we just say, no, man, be free people, then go sit down somewhere different, right? And look, I heard one of our people talk about, Fonatif spending. Speaker Kofa himself has not denied that as Deputy Speaker, he overspent his budget. There is this thing called deficit spending. That is what the Speaker did. So that's why he got accused of. He hasn't said that he didn't overspend. The idea that it was criminal is where the question is. And I think people are talking about that a crime was committed. That why aren't people arguing before the Supreme Court that people were bribed? Well, the case before the Supreme Court is not about a crime being committed. That it was that it's not bribery. So you can't go there and go discuss bribery. Number one, the Justice Ministry and they have to first find people, investigate, send them to court, and then before it can end up over there. So the Supreme Court is not going to be talking about who gave money to who in somebody's car. So that can't even be a discussion for the Supreme Court, right? And again, here is where plausible deniability come in. Those people who are recalling themselves that said they received money, you would never saw a Speaker Kofa there giving money. You never saw Thomas Falah there giving money. You never saw Jeremiah Kuhn there giving money. So it came from people way away, plausible deniability. So how are we discussing that? So I think the Supreme Court is looking at the removal, the process of removing the Speaker. Did it align with the House's own rules as laid out? It's not to say the House's rules is illegal. It is, did you follow your own rules that you lay out? I think that's the discussion before the Supreme Court. But I will keep saying this over and over. This is not a case that's going to be resolved by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is going to rule. The Supreme Court even said we ruled that Richard Kuhn is not Speaker. It was done illegally and everything else in Fonatif's favor. If Fonatif does not have the numbers to have a quorum, it requires a political solution. How do you lead people to follow you? Right? So this is why I keep saying I'm looking forward to a political solution, and I'm looking forward to the day after the ruling, because we'll be looking at what the ruling says and how the executive will act.
Okay, how the executive will act.
Mr. So, can I just inject a little bit? Brother Sese, you right about that, the political aspect, but this is the catch. The Supreme Court ruling will have some effect on some of the majority group members, because we are seeing them start to say, okay, the last time we affixed our signature, it was because we wanted this man to have due process. And you people came and form a little corner side play and elected our speaker. So we're not going to be part of it. 6 people withdrew their signature. Are those 6 people in the, say, let's assume that the Supreme Court ruling in favor of Fanati, are they going to join his black now? What's happening next? So Fanati Kova have and the other 2 representatives are DJ Blue and the other guy that left, join his normal, they're going to be over 37. Now he has a quorum. He can use his power now to say, you guys come to section. If they don't come, I think they gave them a couple of days or whatever time, they declare the seat vacant. That's where the political struggle gonna be. And I feel at that point, yeah. Go ahead.
Keto, this is where I disagree with you, because first of all, the Supreme Court is arguing on the rate that is before them. The rate that is before them says that the majority black is illegal in operation. That is what the rate is saying. So that is why the Supreme Court is arguing on. The Supreme Court is not going to, and so the rate says that they are illegal, and the rate is compelling them to go back into the chamber under the speaker's gavel. And it's going to be very difficult for the Supreme Court to rule in favor of Fonati on this matter. And even if it does, it is going to be critical for them to follow, because already people are in jeopardy for their position. They fear that they will get suspended. People are fearing a lot of things, that if they go back under Fonati, there will be a crisis house and many other things. But what I'm talking about is what is on the docket here, what is being discussed, what was being discussed today in the Supreme Court was about constitutional breach and what is unconstitutional. So if it is proven, that is why they're arguing on Article 33, because the argument of Fonati is that the majority black is sitting unconstitutional, and that is that law they want to be read. Fonati want that law to be clarified, whether if they are constitutional or unconstitutional. And
Okay.
that is what I think it is.
All right, well,
But
guys,
anyway,
I'm wondering here what are the reason the executive been silent, if they're doing anything behind the scene off camera, we don't know it, so we can't say. Perhaps they're waiting for the court decision so that they as implementers, they will implement, we're waiting to see, and that would be quite interesting. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. Terry, if we were to make you the presiding judge in the case by the area today, for a long time.
So Terry, you said Saturday and CNN you will be to Calabar. What you say?
I didn't say that. I don't want DJ Blue to put me on the record and carry me from constitutional.
Don't Terry in a situation you can't handle, please.
Sister, you don't have to call out to bring my brother down. You know a question here, pastor.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but yeah, you see, they may or Evans. So, Mr. So, you brought Evans here to tell me how my pastor went. I'm correct.
What everything?
Now, how will the pastor go and defend? Every moment, I'm not defending the majority black. Or else by now, I will be congratulating Rachel Kuhn. But you hear me congratulating Rachel Kuhn? No, I'm on the side of the law. Anywhere the law goes, I will be there.
Oh my God.
Look, man, you have a happy Thanksgiving, man. I'm thankful for this platform. I'm thankful for all of you guys, and I wish you all well. Happy Thanksgiving.
So, I do son as well.
I left it, you see.
And the one I was saying, bye.
But I saw put here on the way. You gotta put it up.
Mr. Deputy Presiding, are we going to have election today?
Not there, yeah. Rachel Kuhn answered nothing. CNN, you answered nothing. For that, he answered nothing. Now, Terrace Day, DJ Ziggy Zablu will be dropping some money.
So, I don't say that. Why did he say, your uncle, why your uncle didn't show up now? What
we face here one family problem. I trying to find my way to go by Lofa Kante. I'm putting my mom. No,
I mean, the Lofa crash is getting deepening. So, Tomafala, wait.
I'm putting my mom. Nobody. You see my
Tomafala, wait. What in Nimali, friends in Nimali? Fall on in rape case. It's not easy again.
Mr. So. If you get my uncle Tamba, when my uncle Tamba, Jefferson Tamba call you, please tell him we can talk on the side. I want to party out to all my uncle there. Uncle Sa, Uncle Tamba, everybody.
Uncle Jomo,
You want to apologize to Entefina Bonodu?
I plan trip to go to the faculty. I need to go back home. Leave me alone.
All right, good night.
When you
This is how we're going to bring the program to an end tonight. We want to say thank you so much for being here with us this evening. As usual, let's continue to pray for our country. And he said, we've been praying. The more you pray, people do bad things. But let's keep the faith, and hopefully, that country will be a better country. So we want to say happy Thanksgiving to all of our followers, viewers, all of you across country, USA, Liberia, and other parts of the world. We say happy Thanksgiving, especially if you're right here in the USA. Of course, you're going to be observing that. We say happy Thanksgiving. Pardon to the big bird. And make sure you leave some for us. We want to thank you for your commitment to this network. It's unquestionable. Mr. Tai going to Weado. We say happy Thanksgiving to your family. Of course, Madam Esther Clark Fredericks, happy turkey. I guess you finished season that thing, which I really I can stretch my hand going out store in hall one day. No fatu. On to get it all ready. So we want to thank you so much. Thank you so much, all of you, for your time, your energy, your passion, your commitments, your comments, your tweets, your interactions on this network. It's just amazing. Mr. Manuel, thank you for calling in tonight, your contributions, and of course, all of the analysts. We're still praying for our own Papa George. By the grace of God, God is there. Moses, thank you so much. My man Morgan, we want to say thank you so much for your commitment to this network. Hey, Bill, the man, what's up, my man? Morgan, what are you having tomorrow? Thanksgiving with climaxing with something else? Well, enjoy yourself, keep it cool. And some will still be when Mr. Paul Wiese, of course, no exception. We say thank you so much for your commitment. Eric Talu. Could thank you so much for always being here. Moses Mombolot, who say thank all of you. Coming December, to going to be relaying with one of the local radio stations, Big FM in Liberia. We are still working the time slot. That might most likely one early morning show and then evenings. People schedule kind of crazy. So hopefully we'll get to that point. Until folks, have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.